Joining us on the phone right now, Dr. Robert Watson, political science professor from Lynn University. Dr. Watson, this a truly momentous event. Put this in context for us. Some were saying this huge for the president, perhaps his greatest achievement in office so far.
Well, it very well may be. We need to remember, of course, that 2 wars have been launched in the name of catching Osama bin Laden, and of course every American remembers where they were on September 11th, 2011. And we have lost men, women, and children from the terror attacks, and we've had men serving for a decade. So this is a huge issue. But on that note, we need to know that while it changes everything, it also changes nothing. It changes everything from a symbolic standpoint in that it brings some degree, however little, of closure to the families who have lost loved ones and the soldiers who have been sacrificing and serving. And it really had to be the United States to catch bin Laden. There was always that fear that he would die of natural causes in his sleep, and we would look weak by not catching him, or we couldn't find the body to verify it. But on the other hand, it changes nothing because the threat from Al-Qaeda continues. It is now a global, truly a global organization. And this old wish that if we cut the head off the snake, we'll kill the snake, that's been a false analogy because Al-Qaeda had warped and merged over the years into being a decentralized, rather autonomous organization working all around the world.
Well, Dr. Watson, we're showing live pictures right now of people just coming outside, right outside the White House, reacting to this news. I'm curious, what do you think the reaction is going to be in the Middle East?
Well, that's a concern. Now, on one hand, people all around the world are right to celebrate this, and again, families and those who have served. But there was always the concern that if bin Laden were caught, or if he was killed, there would probably be some kind of mandate or order given among terrorist groups or among Al-Qaeda to initiate terror reprisals in his name, and because he's now martyred. So I suspect it's going to be a night of celebration and a day of celebration tomorrow around the world, but throughout the Middle East and in Pakistan, as well as in capitals like London and Berlin and Madrid, elsewhere throughout Europe, it's going to be a potentially dicey situation, as obviously security will be stepped up at U.S. military bases, embassies, airports, and other transportation hubs around the world. So this is an exciting moment, but it's a potentially troubling moment as well.
Dr. Watson, we're talking about the strength of Al-Qaeda, and this has sort of been, who the organization that people were targeting. And there's been a lot of talk that, Osama bin Laden perhaps wasn't as hands-on, if you will, the day-to-day leader that he was in the first couple of years, and that the organization had fragmented it and moved throughout the Middle East. Do you think he was as powerful today as he was just after 9/11?
In a symbolic sense, yes, good question. He was clearly as powerful today in a symbolic sense because his face, his image, his name, his success on September 11th have been used around the world as a rallying cry for terrorists. They probably recruited countless thousands of fanatical members to their cause. However, the reason why it does change nothing is for the last several years, Osama bin Laden has either been on the run or been holed up. And on account of both of those, there's no way that he could have been operationally as powerful as he was in the late 90s or early 2000s. He's been essentially a figurehead running for his life and living out of caves as if it was the Middle Ages. So he probably has had virtually nothing to do with operational command of late. And this is, again, the problem because Al-Qaeda has been an autonomous, decentralized organization where individual cells, even in parts of Asia, operating in North Africa, around the world, have apparently, according to all the best intel we've been reading about the last few years, have been green-lighted to plan and implement their own terror activities.
Dr. Watson, do you think with all the men that he did have underneath him, though, will there be concern for those, the ones that have not been captured, that they will continue what he wanted to continue doing, and that's being so hurtful to the United States?
Oh, clearly. Well, part of the success the Bush administration captured and killed a few senior Al-Qaeda members. The Obama administration has had some success, a lot of success capturing and killing a lot of senior Al-Qaeda members. So we have been weakening the organization. We've been crossing off or check-marking various names for the last decade. But if for every one we kill, we just don't have a reasonable number of how many recruits there are. And again, for the average soldier, the average FBI agent, or the average airport security official, the CIA planners and Pentagon planners, tomorrow they get out of bed and they continue doing the exact same thing until we eliminate every single member of Al-Qaeda and every single related group and every single threat. So bin Laden's out of the way, and that is absolutely a momentous moment. It's a symbolic victory for the country, gives some folks some degree of closure. But for those sacrificing on the front lines, they're going to get up tomorrow and have to continue to do the exact same work.
Help me along if I'm misspeaking, Dr. Watson. I remember it was a couple of years ago that it was Khalid Sheikh Mohammed who was caught, right? He was the Al-Qaeda number 2, and much was made of that, and there was thought that, well, perhaps this would, perhaps create a big turning point, and it turned out not to be that way.
Yeah, it turned out not to be that way. It was that was another symbolic moment because of the, he had blood on his hands, obviously, and was a mastermind and a planner. But again, it's become such an autonomous organization with so many cells operating independently that if you kill one, that just eliminates one, but the other ones are popping up all over the place. And again, it's going to be a dicey day, I think, tomorrow throughout the Middle East. If I'm a head of state or if I'm advising a security or military operation, I put them on full alert. We go to full alert right now. And again, I don't want to give a sense of false alarm or alarmism or say the sky's falling. But, clearly this could be a very dicey moment. But it's a huge success for the president. And bin Laden from the beginning, the bin Laden family in Saudi Arabia were multimillionaires, made a lot of money in the construction industry and so forth. So bin Laden was able to financially bankroll this. However, both under Bush and Obama, those funds have been frozen, they've been seized, and his pipeline to money has been cut off. So we did do that. We also isolated him, had him on the run. So everything we could have done shy of killing him, we have done to take him out of the picture. But then again, there's no way of controlling every single cell that has emerged worldwide over the last decade.
Lastly, Dr. Watson, the political capital from this, probably immeasurable. I would imagine a lot of people are going to oppose it, that this is certainly going to give the president the inside track on 2012.
Goodness, yeah, you hate to talk politics at a time like this, and I thought the president's remarks were fantastic. He even mentioned George W. Bush and gave him a pat on the back, and he refrained from being political. He rightfully looked right in the camera and was serious and sympathetic to the folks who had lost loved ones. No, banners flying, mission accomplished, no thumping of his chest, no marching bands. A very humble, solemn, and serious moment. But of course, we are ready to enter a political election and a re-election bid. And the president, during his campaign and for the last 2 years, has repeatedly been saying one of the main reasons why we need to get out of Iraq, and he's brought 100,000 and change, is soldiers out of Iraq. We need to end the war in Iraq and focus on the real mission of catching bin Laden, destroying terrorism. So for his critics who've been suggesting that he's been weak, he's been making the argument that we have to stop. We only have so many Farsi and Arabic speakers, intel, soldiers. We need to get them off the out of where they don't need to be and get them focused on the real mission. So in a way, you hate to bring politics in, but a lot of what he's been saying for 2 years seems to be vindicated tonight. So clearly, the politicos and all the talking heads will be spinning that once the proper period of solemnity passes.
Dr. Robert Watson, WPTV political analyst and professor at Lynn University, thank you so much for your time at this late hour. We really appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure.